Yeah. Okay, we're gonna come back into open session at 6:41 p.m. And now we're gonna start at the top of our agenda. So public.
Any action?
Okay, so from closed session action, we are gonna ask the town to work with the attorney to draw up a, I don't want to say service agreement because that's not performance agreement, thank you. For JBM LLC. As discussed in closed session. And then we are. No, we don't have to vote on doing that. And I think we want to ask more questions.
Okay, so then you're gonna, I'm making request from Dennis LLC.
Go ahead and take that one now if you want.
Yep.
Just take it out of order, and if that's your desire.
Okay.
You do not have to jump back to the top if you do not want to.
Yes, we would like to, the board would like to ask questions of Dennis LLC, if y'all would not mind. Can you come up to the podium?
Yes.
And I'm just gonna let them rocket fire.
That's fine.
Hey, Steve, my first question is, where are these gonna be located on the property?
Okay, the Demis still owns the parking that surrounds the pond, the curve that surrounds the pond.
Yeah.
So we're talking about starting with first space, which would be on the north corner, closest to our 2652 building, directly across from the coffee shop. We would start at that first parking space and just start moving down the road. We own those, Marty doesn't own those.
No, I understand that. I still, so directly east of the coffee shop?
Yes, directly east of the northeast corner of the coffee shop.
Okay.
Across from like, what's the?
Hayburn Orthodontics, or Hayburn Orthodontics is right there on the south side of our
Yes,
southeast building.
not Ramones or what's the?
No, Ramones is on
Ramones
in
is
the
inside,
48
yeah.
building now on the
Okay.
interior
He's on the
drive.
inside.
Actually, I think Ramon years ago used to be on
Yeah,
that
on that
side.
side there, yeah,
Right.
yeah, okay. So not on the side, so if the coffee shop is here and that other building's here. You got the cars pull out up in front, you would be directly in front of like. On the same side where Marty's to go is kind of. Down closer to the coffee shop,
No,
no.
Oh,
no,
okay.
we're talking about on the curve. If I had a drawing, I'm so sorry that I don't.
So it's on the curve.
It's the curve, yes. So literally Marty's front door out of the coffee shop,
Mhm.
you could walk straight out to the EV parking or the
okay.
EV charging.
No, I understand now.
I thought, yeah, okay. So
I can
didn't know you
confirm
guys had those
those.
parking spots, so
That
I
was
got
turning.
reserved a spot.
Right? Yeah, so my apologies for not actually having a drawing with me.
Okay, while Tammy's pulling up that map, what were some
Yes.
of the other questions y'all wanted to know?
The charging rate.
Okay, so as far as what the public would be charged per kilowatt hour.
Yeah, and
charging
where did that
vehicles.
number come from?
Well, generally I polled around the charging stations that are charging for it. A lot of stations, if they're privately owned either, or if they're given strictly as an amenity, they can be free or they can be reduced. But what I saw on the generally charged is 49 cents a kilowatt hour. I know that our cost is, 11 and a half cents a kilowatt hour. So our intention is not, we honestly, as the owners of the charging station, we don't really expect to make any money off it. But we think that it's going to continue to grow the town center, grow the business, and help us lease to new tenants as a sustainability,
Map is up behind you. if you would.
Thank you. Okay, so I've got
There's your
so 407. Here's the coffee shop right here now. Yeah, coffee shop's right here. We have a fenced in area here with a bunch of power that powers pumps and irrigation and some other lighting. The EV charging would start right at this corner and move this direction. So our initial intention is to install 2 charging stations, which would cover 4 parking spaces, but pre-wire for 3 more stations, which would ultimately allow us to go 10 total parking spaces if the market determines, you know, if people are using it. The project, we thought originally we might have enough power in this fenced area. We don't. And we should, you know, we got CoServe out, our electricians, and also the power, the people from LilyPad that work for ChargePoint. And ultimately, CoServe said, we've got a junction box right here, right in front of the coffee shop. The best way for them to get us the power that we actually need is for them to tunnel under and pop up right here and put another transformer. Okay, so that's the CoServe portion. I think CoServe's eating a little bit of that cost. They don't tell us they are, they just say this is how much it's going to cost you. But I think they're probably absorbing a little bit. We
Well,
tried.
there's so much federal money available for anything that says EV. My guess is they figured out how to handle it.
Yeah, there's not for us,
I
but
know,
there might be
but
for them.
for them, yeah.
So ultimately, once we get the new transformer set, then our electrician will come in for little sort of triangular pads every 2 parking spaces and run underground power from that new transformer to each of the 5 locations. 3 of those locations will cap. And the reason we're doing that, you know, it's not that much extra to run those other 3, but then down the road, if we want to add another station or 2 or 3, we just call ChargePoint. It costs none of us anything for the equipment to do it. They put in the stations. We just have to change our subscription. Our subscription initially is set up to be for 2 stations, which costs us $5,200 a year for 5 years. It's a 5-year agreement. So we're committing to $26,000 of Dennis money to put up the 2 stations. Now, if we increase the number of stations over time, each time we do that, it's going to be another $2,600 per year per station. So
Are these 2 spaces shared per pedestal, or is it individual? Because what I heard was 3, and I'm trying to figure out how to
Okay.
get that.
I'm rolling stuff out really fast.
Okay.
So I apologize. The initial installation will be actually 2 bollard style
2 pedestals.
pedestals.
Mhm.
They're each dual pedestals. They'll each have 2 chargers. So with those 2 pedestals, we'll be able to serve 4 vehicles simultaneously. We do want to pre-wire for 3 additional stations because this is so new to this area. We don't know. We're afraid to put in 5 stations. We don't want to commit to whatever 2,600 times 5, you know,
Yeah.
$13,000 a year is a little more outside of our risk zone, I think, initially. But we do really think that the future, I mean, there's 186,000 EV electric vehicles in Texas right now. By 2030, that number is supposed to be 3 million. So, I mean, I think we all know the direction the world seems to be going. So
How does that work? How does ChargePoint is the name of the company? Is ChargePoint, do they, like, let's say, for example, you got Exxon.
Right.
Exxon owns a gas station. Does ChargePoint own these charging stations, or do y'all own those?
well, there's multiple ways to do it. And the most cost-effective way for us, we found to do it is using ChargePoint as a service. Okay. So they own the pump. They will maintain the pump. They'll maintain the software. They are able to monitor the pump via the cloud, and we pay a subscription for them to do that for a period of time. Now, as people, it's our power, and we collect the proceeds from the purchases. But ultimately, at least as I've calculated as of today, basically need to sell almost 13,800 kilowatts of power annually to break even. That's the equivalent of 2 cars every day charging for 2.5 hours. Okay, now I think that's actually very reasonable, given the traffic and the traffic that stays at the center for a long period of time. This will benefit Marty's traffic, his coffee shop traffic. When the salon comes in, additional customers as well, and customers from the town center. We think it's going to help the salon lease up her space. It's going to help us leasing up space over time. And then the side benefits, of course, are keeping our current tenants in place, employee retention, increasing sales, because it's been shown that EV charging customers spend as much as twice as long in a retail establishment as a regular
That's a
shopper.
good reason for that. Yeah.
And it's been shown that a general retail shopper will spend $1 per minute they spend in a store. So the more time you spend, the more retail sales, which helps sales tax. Which helps
What is
everybody.
your current lease percentage? How much of your space is leased out?
Well, not sure I have the exact number in my head. I know that we have 3 vacant executive suites. I've got at least 1 retail location that has not been renewed, but is potentially vacant at the end of June. I've got several offices that have not renewed. I don't know what the answer will be in 60 days. Right now, basically, we're probably 95% full.
Okay.
But this is commercial real estate.
Right.
You know, people are coming and going constantly.
Right.
So, especially in the executive suites, we have 21 executive suites. Generally speaking, we always have anywhere from 3 to 5 vacant at any given time. And I actually would speculate they may be a consistent user of the EV program. So I think leasing for them definitely would help.
The other question is that you'll have to reserve those spots, obviously, so gas powered vehicles are not taking up those spaces. You know.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, right now, Marty's coffee shop's taking up all those spaces, so they don't really own those spaces to use them, but that's the most centralized place for the whole of the town center and the Marty development and the
So
salon.
your power service.
Yeah, that's really the easiest. We thought about trying to stick them, you know, we could have stuck them way in the back.
Mhm.
You know, we sort of have that outlet in the back way up there, but nobody would see them. And then we're sort of resigning ourselves to that, for that to be really a tenant only all day charge scenario, as opposed to a shopper charge. Yeah, this is the only other place, but I think it would have cost a lot more to run the power back there. Generally speaking, I believe all the power comes in this way. I know we had to junction over for Marty here, and I think it even pops off to the other buildings from that building. Yeah, I mean, again, with the break even level, even if the charging is triple what that break even is, the town center would make $15,000 a year. Which is nothing. I mean, honestly. So, you know, that's if it's triple break even. That's 10 charges at 2.5. No, not 10. 7 or 8 charges at 2 hours a charge per day. I doubt we can get there. I don't know though. We don't know. It's a new world. So I think that's why we're asking, you know, the town to sort of help us lead, and let's get some experience on this stuff.
We have any more questions?
I think it's not really a question. It's kind of the feasibility, if you will, of using chargers at that rate. I question it. I have an electric car and I generally, if I'm gonna spend 49 cents for supercharging kilowatts, that would be the max that I would pay. So I'm concerned that maybe the pricing might be a concern for some customers.
Honestly, at the end of the day, we have full control over pricing, not charge point. So if we're seeing that it's, I would love to have your input as an EV user. And if there's other prices that make more sense, I don't know what you're paying. I don't know that we need to discuss that, in this forum, but that's a number that we're seeing, but that doesn't mean that's what we're going to get. So our break evens are based on that. But at the end of the day, we're not, I don't even care if we break even. This is an amenity we need to have, and nobody else has it. Nobody close to here. So
Yeah, I agree. It's a reason for people to shop at your location. It's a reason for them to, go into your office if your office has charging on site. There's a lot of advantages.
I mean, somebody's going to take 2 hours to eat dinner at the Barrel. They're going to take 2.5 hours, 3 hours to eat dinner at Marty's. They're going to go into the salon for a facial. They're going to be there an hour and a half. Those are times where people can put miles on their car. If it was a 7-Eleven, we'd have to be that faster charger style, but we tend to think that our customers stay longer doing the things that they do at the town center.
All right, if there's no other questions, do we have any more questions? Would anyone like to make a motion? If not, I'll make a motion. All right. Make a motion that we send this back to the attorney to put together a performance agreement, and that we award a $20,000 grant with a 3-year clawback. And the 3-year clawback, I need to specify because this is a little different ask. The 3-year clawback would be that the EV stations would be operational and functional for 3 years. I need a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we're going to start back at the top of our agenda. Public participation. The purpose of this time is to allow any citizens that would like to come and address the BCBC board on any issues or subjects of a public hearing. Do we have anybody that wants to speak? Y'all are just hanging out? Oh. All right, we'll move right along then. We need to consider the approval of the April 12th, 2023 meeting minutes.
So move.
Motion made. Seconded by Dwayne, sorry. All in favor?
Okay.
Unanimous. Consider approval of a performance agreement by and between the Bartonville Community Development Corporation and Cloud9 Management LLC. Oh, I did. I'm so sorry. Scratch that. I think there's something in the air. We're all having a week. It's that's not just me. Okay, we're gonna go to item number 2, a public hearing to consider and take action upon the following project to provide financial assistance in an amount not to exceed $35,000 to Sack House Investments LLC, and to consider approval of a performance agreement by and between the Bartonville Community Development Corporation and Sack House LLC.
So moved.
We did open the public hearing.
At 7:01. Is there any,
You need a motion.
Anyone that speaks in open.
yeah, is there anyone that wants to speak in favor or against this grant to, Stackhouse Investments? AKA Trio Street.
Yeah, I'm not gonna speak on behalf of it, but I'm here on behalf of Tim House to listen and answer any questions I can, should they come up.
Does anybody have any questions? I don't think so. I think we hammered that all out originally. All right, hearing no questions and no other input, closing the public hearing at 7:02 PM. Now, we're gonna move on to. Oh, I need a motion.
We're to bring the performance agreement.
To.
I make a motion to
Okay.
approve the financial assistance to Stackhouse Investments LLC and consider and approve the performance agreement between the Bartonville Community Development Corporation and Stackhouse Investments LLC.
Motion, do I have a second?
Oh.
Mr. Langford. All in favor? That was unanimous. We're gonna try this again, number 3. Consider approval of performance agreement by and between the Bartonville Community Development Corporation and Cloud9 Management LLC.
Say that you had your public hearing on this item at your last meeting.
Yes, we did, and we had some edits that needed to be made. Those have been made. I proofread them. Okay. This thing. Do I have a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion, we approve the performance agreement by and between the Bartonville Community Development Corporation and Cloud9 Management LLC.
Second? All in favor?
Yes.
All in favor?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm reading ahead here, sorry.
That's okay. All right, number 4 is an update on DCDC business survey contract, or I'm sorry, contact request. So this is where we had divided up the list of businesses that wanted to be contacted. I have to admit, I have not been able to because I was either gone or sick. So I'm just now getting done with being sick. But has anyone been able to go visit?
Yeah, I did a visit with Marty
And
and literally his A, B, and C priorities are parking.
parking,
That's the biggest issue. He is of the opinion that the parking requirements probably are adequate if it was only considering the people who show up there for whatever reason. But he doesn't think the parking requirements adequately take care of what it takes for the employees. So he thinks the parking requirements are not.
well, that's something that would be handled by the town council, by the.
That's
ordinance,
exactly right.
Right? So
Yeah,
there's
that's
not
exactly
anything-
right. There was nothing for us to do.
Nothing that we can
He
do.
was very pleased with the help he's gotten from all of us individually as well as from the community development.
Good.
Were there any other items that were mentioned that could be?
No, that's really what he talked about. And it's his number one issue, obviously.
I also was out of town for longer than expected. I need to talk to that gentleman there. I'd like to meet Brandon, but I have not done so yet.
Okay. Have you been able to
I
meet
have
with
not.
anyone? Have you been able to? Okay. Well, thank you, Terry, for showing us all up and we appreciate that. And the rest of us will get on the ball and meet with those that we agreed to meet with. Okay, next item is a discussion on development activity. We got anything new coming?
Not to my knowledge. Have you received any applications or permits? We haven't received anything. The only, we heard from Whataburger that they may change their footprint to be like,
Smaller slightly.
There you go.
They're considering a smaller footprint for a concept store. But they talked to the architect. This has now been almost 2 months. The permit's been sitting over at the freshwater district. They have to go completely through the CUP process again.
Oh, wow.
Our ordinances do not allow any waiver from when it's a CUP Staff cannot, if it's within 5%, some towns have that ability for staff to make that decision. We don't have that. Ours is very strict, so they must go all the way back through.
So the conditions on the permit, but it's the site plan that they have to.
Right.
But other than that, we haven't had any inquiries for new businesses.
Was it a dramatic size difference or just slight?
Slight and smaller, actually, a smaller impact of the site. More efficient in their mind.
All right, moving on to discussion on marketing, promotional items and advertising of local businesses. And I believe that is all. Does anyone have any future items they want to discuss next month? That we can,
Tammy, I saw some little ribbons that go across the road. I think it was on 407 someplace. Are we doing that or is somebody else doing that?
So does
Traffic
that,
study?
we're near IT Neely.
Okay, so TxDOT's doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
Our traffic study will be done in October.
Yeah, that's what surprised me that I saw the little.
Yeah.
well, they're supposed to be working on the expansion of 407 between 1830 all the way out through Justin. So I wonder if that's part of what they're doing.
Well, probably if they're going to delight it, I think.
There has been a request for a lighted IT Neely. We're working on the information. We have crash data and we now have a traffic impact study from the ELTS, the school that's going to build it on CJ's. So we're going to forward that to TxDOT and try and advance a light at IT Neely.
So has that school come forward yet, or is that just?
We've received the application. It's in review. We've received their site plan and basically their development application.
Do you have anything you want on next month's agenda, sir?
No.
Any of y'all?
Next thing are we meeting in June, do we think?
June 12th,
Okay.
or no, yes. No, I lied. We're just sharing this. It's June 14th would be your next meeting.
Don't mess me up.
Second Wednesday. I will double check.
All right, if there's nothing else, we will adjourn for tonight at 7:08 PM and I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Aaron is okay, right?
I hope that helps you.
Oh,
Yeah.